Marcus Aurelius once said, "Realize that you have power over your mind, not over outside events. This will make you strong." Have you ever felt the frustration of having a thought full of noise, the agony of not knowing what to do, or the paralysis by analysis that comes from thinking too much? We've all done it. Played back talks, guessed what would happen, and tried to solve an endless string of what-ifs in our minds. Today, we'll face this problem head-on by looking at 10 useful Stoic ways to stop overthinking. Make sure to stick till the end. Number 1, picture your overthinking as something outside of you. It's easy to get caught up in too much thought, like fog coming in on a clear day. It starts as a single fear or thought and grows so big that it can knock you off your feet. In our fast-paced world, where information comes at us like hail in a storm, this is a familiar problem. The Stoic philosopher King Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This brings us to our first technique, seeing overthinking as something outside of you. Making your thoughts into an enemy is not the point. The point is to see that these thoughts are not who you are. They come into your peace and bother you. Think of those bothersome thoughts as clouds moving over a mountain. You are that mountain, majestic and unmovable, stable even as the clouds pass by. Now, how do you keep these attackers out? Stoicism tells us to look at things without getting involved. You could put these thoughts in a bubble and watch them float away. This mental practice doesn't just make them less important, it also helps you remember that thoughts are temporary. They can only make you upset if you let them and give them power. By doing this picture over and over, you can train your mind to let go of these thoughts before they become a storm. It gets easier to see that you are more than just your thoughts, as you get better at telling yourself apart from all of your thoughts. This difference acts as a shield, like earplugs in a loud crowd. Every day you have to make a conscious effort that gets stronger over time. When you start to think too much, stop and picture the thought as noise that isn't important to you and isn't about who you are. If you do this, you'll not only keep yourself from thinking too much, but you'll also slowly regain your mental space and peace. Number 2, refocus your energy to take charge. Have you ever found yourself getting lost in a rabbit hole of what-ifs and what if that will happen? Worrying about the same things over and over until you can't think straight. In your mind, it's like having a bunch of browser tabs open, and each one has a video playing full speed. You can't seem to hit a stop. The stress of having to keep up with everything can make people think too much, which can lead to a never-ending circle of overthinking. But just like a messy desk, a thought that is too messy needs to be cleaned up. It's not just about mental peace to refocus your thoughts. It's also about regaining control and blocking out the constant chatter of what could be so you can enjoy what is. It was another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, who said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future." This wise advice is the basis for refocusing your energy and taking charge. Put yourself in the present moment to stop overthinking. Pay attention to a job, even if it's a small one, and put all of your energy into finishing it. Moving your attention to the present moment pulls you out of the swirling vortex of what-ifs about the future. The use in real life is easy, but profound. Take part in something that needs your full attention. You might only need to clean up your workspace, go for a quick walk, or get lost in a book. These things need to be done right now, not yesterday or tomorrow. By telling your thoughts to match your actions, you're not just pulling your mind off of things, you're also controlling where your energy goes. Remember that Stoicism isn't about blocking out your thoughts, it's about controlling them by picking which ones to focus on. There is a mental practice going on here. It's not possible to completely stop overthinking. That's not the point. It's important to know when your ideas aren't helpful and have the tools to change them. The more you use this ability to refocus, the stronger and more adaptable your mind gets. Just like when you work out a muscle, you'll learn that the crushing wave of overthinking can be tamed one wave at a time by being present and taking action. Number 3. Accept that things change over time and work on letting go. When we think about the past or worry about the future, our minds tend to get stuck in a loop. When you think too much, your ideas get stuck here and stay for longer than you want them to. Anyone can have this problem. Students who are worried about tests, workers who are worried about presentations, and anyone who is trying to sleep but can't because their mind is racing at 100 miles per hour. We can find comfort in Epictetus's words. He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive. This may seem like a heavy quote, but it's actually about the idea of impermanence, which is at the heart of Stoicism. There are changes in everything, even the feelings that don't seem to go away. We often hold on to our thoughts as if they are fixed parts of our lives when we think too much. Accepting that things change over time means realizing that thoughts are not permanent. When you feel stuck in too much thinking, this understanding can be a light of hope. In real life, accepting change means making it a habit to let go. You consciously let go of the thoughts that don't help you. It's like clearing out your mind. See yourself as a leaf floating on the top of a river as you let your thoughts drift away. Or maybe you think of them as clouds that move on and change shape all the time. This visualization not only helps right away, but it also helps you understand more deeply that the nature of thinking is to change. This practice can change the way you interact with your thoughts if you do it every day. They shouldn't be forced to leave, they should be allowed to. It takes bravery to let go, which is not the same thing as giving up. It means you've decided not to let useless thoughts take over your mind for free. As you get better at this, you'll find that your mind has more space and is quieter than it used to be because you were thinking too much. It's not just a technique to accept that things change, it's a way of living that is more peaceful and in the moment. Number 4. Set aside time to worry. As humans, we all have fears that stick around in the back of our minds, like the hum of a refrigerator. They're always there, sometimes hard to notice, but always there. Often, these fears come up when we least expect them, when we're trying to focus on work, have fun with friends, or even sleep. I feel like these worries are the unwanted guests who won't leave our mind, like a stage. Though, think about this wise saying from Epictetus, a Stoic teacher. If you want to get better, be happy to be thought foolish and stupid. This quote may seem unrelated, but it's a strong lesson to put our peace of mind ahead of worrying out of fear of appearing naive or careless. Setting up a worry period is a smart way to give these worries a stage time, but only during the encore and not the main act. You can give these fears your full attention every day for a certain amount of time, like 20 minutes in the afternoon. Take a deep breath and focus on your fears during this time. Try to figure out where they come from and maybe even write them down. What's really making you upset? How likely are these events to happen? What are you going to do? During this focus session, we often realize that many of our fears are like shadows. They look big but don't really mean anything. Your mind learns that there are times and places to worry, not all day, every day, when you face them head on. After the fear phase is over, you move on. You have given your fears their time, and now you put them away. You can get back in charge of your day by dividing things up in this way. The goal isn't to never worry again. That's not possible. But keeping your fears in check makes them less of a problem in your life. This method is like cleaning up your mind. It helps you put your thoughts where they belong, and enjoy the peace that comes from having a well-organized area. If you don't let your fears run wild, you might find that they lose their power, and life feels a little lighter and more enjoyable. Number 5. Break down your heavy thoughts into steps you can take. Sometimes it feels like we're carrying around a huge rock when we think too much. We're stuck under the heavy cloud of our own thoughts, which seem to be all the weight of the world. This feeling isn't just ours. It's a common human trait made worse by living in a world that expects high standards in every area of life. The stress of having to do well can stop us in our tracks with fear and confusion. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The thing that stops you from acting makes you act. What is in the way becomes the way." This profound insight is the foundation of our 5th method, which is turning overwhelming thoughts into steps that you can take. If you have a big fear or a complicated problem that is making your mind race, break it up into smaller pieces that you can handle. What's the next step I can take? Don't ask about the next 5, 10, or 20 steps. Just ask about the next one. Taking one small step may not seem important, but it's a strong way to stop thinking too much. Focusing on one thing at a time shifts your energy from thinking to doing. It's like taking care of one small knot at a time to untangle a big one. You're not ignoring how complicated your worries are. You're dealing with them in a wise and deliberate way. This method is beautiful because it is easy to use and works well. You gain speed with each small step, and when you look back, you see that the worry rock has turned into a pile of pebbles. You took one step at a time to cross. This method teaches people to be patient, strong, and confident in their own abilities to face problems head-on. All of a sudden, something that seemed impossible to overcome is behind you, and you stop overthinking. Instead, you feel accomplished and clear. Number 6. Change your focus to being thankful. Minds are tricky. They often lead us astray by making us think too much about what we don't have, what might go wrong, or what we still need to do. This is a never-ending cycle that can make us feel tired and unhappy. Focusing on the bad or the not yet in life can make you overthink, which can make the good that's already there seem less important. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future." This piece of Stoic knowledge tells us to stop thinking about what we don't have and start thinking about what we do have. When we worry about what will happen, we forget how valuable the present moment is and all the good things that are happening around us. Being thankful helps us get out of our mental ruts and plant ourselves firmly in the rich land of now, where life is really happening. Do this change by writing down 3 things you're thankful for every day. They don't need to be fancy, they just need to be real. It could be something as easy as a nice cup of coffee, your favorite hoodie, or a message from a friend. If you do this easy thing, it can help you stop overthinking and start being grateful for what you have in your life right now. By focusing on thanks, you not only quiet the noise of your overthinking, but you also make your daily life better. Being thankful makes the good things in our lives stand out even more, and it can slowly but surely change the way we talk to ourselves from one of lack to one of plenty. This new way of looking at things can change how you deal with life's problems over time, making them into chances to see and value what's already good in your life even more. Here, it's not just about feeling better right now. It's about building a base of happiness that will last you through all of life's ups and downs. Number 7. Pay attention to the work, not the result. Many times we overthink because our minds are always dancing with the future, with all of its outcomes, what-ifs, and endless chances of failing and being let down. We can become paralyzed with fear when we think about what might happen in the future and focus on that instead of the actions themselves. People in our society often think that the end justifies the means, which can make us think that if we don't know what will happen, it's not worth going on the trip. Epictetus actually said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is a clear message from Stoicism. Focus on your efforts and intentions instead of the results you can't change. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals or want to do great things. It just means that what really matters is how hard we work, how honest we are, and how good we are as we go along our road. To use this method, consciously shift your attention to the effort itself whenever you find yourself thinking too much about what might happen as a result of your efforts. Ask yourself, are you the best you can be? Are you acting in a good way? Are you staying true to what you believe in? When you use this method, you should be fully involved in the process, do the work, and know that's all you have to do. Focusing on effort can free us from the chains of too much thought. It lets us be in the present and do our best without worrying about what might be getting in the way. It changes the way we act from simple steps toward a goal to displays of our character and dedication. You'll see that your road isn't just a way to get to something else. It's also a way to live a purposeful life, and each step is an accomplishment in and of itself. Before we move on to number 8 on our list, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to never miss out any of our videos about Stoicism and the way you can master your life. Number 8. Choose to feel uncomfortable. When we're faced with something that might be uncomfortable or different, our thoughts often take us into a whirlpool of overthinking. We act out different situations over and over, trying to guess what will happen and getting ready for any pain that might happen. Mentally practicing things over and over again can be tiring. The mental cage of the comfort zone stops growth, and overthinking is the guardian. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." This is similar to the Stoic philosophy of facing problems head-on instead of avoiding them. We can train our brains to deal with uncertainty and stop overthinking by putting ourselves in situations that make them uncomfortable. It's about taking small, deliberate steps that push us out of our comfort zones and teach us how to be strong and flexible. To bring this into your everyday life, start with a small change, like taking a cold shower, sleeping without a pillow, or walking instead of driving. Do something that throws off your regular schedule and don't judge your feelings as they come up. That's not the point. The point is to show yourself that being uncomfortable isn't as scary as your mind makes it out to be when you think about it too much. In a strange way, choosing to be uncomfortable can make you more comfortable with different parts of your life. When you do things that make you feel uncomfortable on a regular basis, they start to feel normal, and your mind starts to calm down. It pays less attention to how things change and more attention to what you can control, how you respond. This powerful shift in view not only stops you from thinking too much, but it also gives you a strong inner core that can handle the ups and downs of life. Number 9. Think about how short life is. When we're thinking too much, it's usually because we've focused too much on one thing. We get caught up in the little things in our lives and forget about the bigger picture. We lose sight of the big picture when our minds are filled with, "What if this happens?" or "What if that doesn't work out?" This close-up view can make even the smallest problems seem impossible to solve, which takes up our time and energy. It was Seneca who said, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it." This powerful quote makes us think about how short our lives are. Every second that you think too much is a moment that you don't fully live or enjoy. As Stoics, we should ask ourselves if our fears will really matter, in the big picture of our lives. So, to stop overthinking, we should regularly step back and look at our whole lives, realizing that many of the things that are bothering us are temporary and don't matter in the long run. When your thoughts are too much for you to handle, take a moment to remember that life is short. Ask yourself if this time spent thinking too much is really worth it. When we think about how short life is, our memories and worries naturally become more important. We're not telling you to be sad or uninterested. Instead, we want you to enjoy the present and keep your mind on what's important. It's a strong way to stop overthinking because it brings our attention to the present, makes us value the present more, and makes worries about the future less heavy. Life is short, so don't let that worry you. Instead, use it as a blank canvas to paint vivid pictures of present and active living. Number 10. Get advice from people other than yourself. Each turn in our thoughts can make us feel like we're going in a maze where we can't find our way out. When we try to put together a puzzle, the pieces keep getting bigger, which makes us feel stuck. This is the main problem with overthinking. We get stuck in a loop that begins and ends in our own minds, and there isn't always a clear way out. Consult your friend on everything, especially when it comes to yourself, the wise Seneca said. His advice may then be useful where your own self-love might cloud your judgment. These simple words contain a deep truth that can help you get through the rough seas of overthinking. Stoicism tells us that the loop of ruminating can be broken by looking for answers elsewhere. It could be a friend's new point of view, the unbiased advice of a guide, or the timeless lessons in a book. In modern times, this means looking for people whose views you value and trust. There could be a friend or family member, or a professional who can help you. Sharing your thoughts with them can help in two ways. First, it helps you understand what you're thinking. Second, it lets them give you feedback that you might not have gotten while you were thinking too much. This method does more than just solve problems. It also tells us how important it is to connect with other people. Things that weigh us down often get lighter when we share them. This is not a sign of weakness. It's an awareness of how strong we are as a species when we work together. Let other people's advice be the light that leads you out of the darkness of too much thought. The puzzle will get easier to solve with each talk. This isn't because the problems are easier, but because you're not trying to solve them by yourself anymore. Which of these ways did you connect with? Tell us what you think in the comments. The ideas we have today are just small steps on the path we're all on to becoming smarter. Click here to watch 8 Stoic ways to keep going during hard days. See you there in a second. Be stoic. Stay stoic.